Hello and welcome to the Kundalini podcast. That was Zen. This is Thou. I'm Vivek Govekar. This is episode 82. Namaste. Beautiful day. So, I was watching the couple of videos that I made yesterday, episodes 80 and 81. And sometimes you make a video and then you don't know how to follow it up. As I have said in the previous two videos, the ideas for videos come from people asking questions. You get a gauge on who the audience is, you respond to them, and that makes your brain move in certain directions. Otherwise, you're just busy going through your own process. And now it's an interface between you and the audience members. Now you have to get into their minds and try to answer questions for something that has become a regular part of your life. It has become routine, even though it was a miraculous, extraordinary event when it first began. It gains a degree of normalcy, as with anything. Any new thing, new change that happens to your body or to your surroundings, you then start coping with it over a period of time and come back to explain it to people about, hey, this is what happened to me. But first you have to find a reference point to what people want to know, and that's when it helps when people ask questions. So yeah, please leave your comments and let me know what parts of the stuff that I'm talking about appeals to you and what other questions you may have that I could answer. Now, yesterday I talked about the Kundalini process being a removal of junk in your chakric system process. So, I'd like to go deeper into that analogy. I never thought about explaining it from that perspective before. So, yesterday I said, you have an awakening at the bottom of your spine and energy gets released. All of us, all human beings, have that energy stored in your spine. Now you may ask, well, why is it stored in your spine and what uses it before the awakening happens? This is the kind of regulator mechanism that has been set up. Why? I have no clue. The previous analogy I gave was that of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. So even in the earlier stages, the DNA of the caterpillar has the programming encoded for a transformation. If you see it scientifically, certain enzymes have to be released. The molting process of certain cells has to begin. New cells have to grow. And all this, because it repeats in pretty much every single caterpillar, unless there is some deformity, every single caterpillar has that transformation encoded in them to become a butterfly. The best way I can describe the Kundalini process, given that caterpillar butterfly transformation analogy, is that every single human being has this encoded in their DNA. And you get the same physiology, you get the same physiology as anybody else. You have this energy at the bottom of your spine. Not every human being manages to reach this level, and because of that, it is known to very few. And when that does happen, it is seen as a major event. In the past, when we didn't have access to between different cultures, when we didn't have the technology we do right now, like television, like the internet, it was difficult to communicate these things, but it was thought important in any culture that it happened in. It was thought important to document that event around that individual. I'm taking the awakened being trope and a certain mechanism that follows it happening to an individual. That person then becomes someone that is considered wise. People listen to what they have to say. and every word gets recorded in a Bible or in the form of a book like that. In some cases, in some cultures, it happens over a systematic process that has been, people kept observing people like having these awakenings and then saying, okay, let's write this down and make it a system so everyone can gain access to this knowledge. Another one of those things that repeats itself is secrecy forms around this kind of an awakening out of necessity. And also, a layering is done of how many people can actually have access to this knowledge and how. Because it's understood that this is something extraordinary. As I said yesterday, a two-dimensional person becoming a 3D object, leaving an imprint of that two-dimensional nature of himself, previous self, still in that reality. So, me walking on this beach, that is my physical body, is me kind of being in that two-dimensional reality that is observable to other people. I can make a video, I can spread the knowledge, and the other parts that I have now access to will be reflected in this reality. That's what the transformation does to you. As I said, depending on the culture, depending on which culture that awakening happened in, it always is going to gain a major significance regardless of which culture, which community, and what time point an awakening happened. However, how it gets recorded and what religion forms around it, how people interpret the messages given by the individual that is going through this process, decides a lot going down the line in the future. For example, let's say someone awakened and had these revelations, insights, guiding principles, left them in form of a book. But the people that followed in that lineage, who thought those words were worth cherishing and following upon, may not have the exact insight transmitted to them. It's not just difficult, it's almost impossible to pass on the knowledge exactly as it is received. It is said that Mozart left most of his best music unwritten. And now I understand what that is. When I take pictures, my creativity is at a high level and I go and take pictures. Initially, that was the only path available to me based on what I had practiced before, which is I had practiced photography as an unawakened person. With the illumination, it was the easiest way for me to demonstrate the degree of change and how many of my creative abilities I could focus in that act of creativity, and how easy it became, how quickly I grasped those principles. Now, same activity, I had been doing it for a while. Now I can do it much better. That feeling is indescribable. But you can demonstrate through your output. So every awakened person, because of natural instincts programmed as part of this process, also wants to educate others about this process. And then there is a degree of secrecy, opacity, lack of understanding, people not exactly grasping what that person was trying to say. All of that creeps in gradually as years go by. There's nothing you can do about that part. What you can do as an awakened person is make it as clear as possible what you're trying to say, so there's very little misunderstanding. And that has been a difficult thing for me as I cope with the transformation itself, but has to be done. So the photography was a way to show that a changed perspective and how you look at the world now can be seen as a clear before and after. So look, I was trying to make photos before, but this is the best I could do. And wow, look at this. It's the same with making videos on YouTube. When YouTube came along, I wasn't young, I wouldn't have picked it up as a thing to do in the first place. But then I thought, okay, something new that allows me to practice another skill, presenting, making videos, putting them together. And suddenly as I started doing that, that became better, faster. You see what I'm saying? The grasping of skills that you were already working on becomes that much easier. The kind of thoughts that you entertain in your mind now become of a more philosophical nature. You would have never given much thought to some higher aspects of life. You were just busy living it. And like you're seeing from a helicopter or a drone, a scene that's down below, and now it looks completely different than how it looks from this level, the ground level, and I'm looking at everything that I see, the beach, people, the waves. By the way, a beautiful day here in Malibu. I'll be making this video. So it is a widening of your perspective. It is grasping things faster. But all of that has a spiritual component to it, because this is given by the higher power that we call God. And going back to the first point I was trying to make when I began this video, everyone has the potential to awaken. They have it in the bottom of their spine. And the whole process has been encoded in our DNA to begin with. But receiving it is something that the Almighty grants you. You receive it only by the blessings of the Almighty. And God shed His grace on you, literally. And that's why I'm very lucky and filled with gratitude. Despite every bit of suffering and pain that I've gone through since this awakening. And this, I could say, is at the end of the journey. Pretty close to the end of the journey, where the dark night of the soul has diminished. The good parts, the blessings are coming in, and I'm in a position to receive it better. What this process also does is makes you more receptive. As I have mentioned a couple of videos ago, having a toxic relationship with getting approval or being affected by people's disapproval, wanting to be liked, were hindrances and blockages I personally had in my unawakened self. Now, the methods that I'm presenting in these videos are methods that I want to share because they worked for me first. As I said, I awakened without knowing much about this process and had to find clues on how to cope with it through trial and error. So the methods I'm presenting are all methods that I have worked for me and will definitely work for everyone else as well. So I find them worth sharing. And that's the illuminated part of you, wanting to help your own process, help others. And it's the joy you get from oh, look what I found. So everyone has this encoded in their DNA, but happens to very few people because there is a component of divine providence, of God saying, yes, this can be granted to you. You're praying, and the way you have done it has just been the right mix, along with your physical ability to get this, cope with it, and transmute yourself. It's not a bad thing that not everyone gets it. You're karmically not at the right place, right lifetime to receive it. And that's a good thing too. So coveting it is also not a good thing. That's the other thing I want to caution people about, is wanting an awakening, craving it before it's your time. Instead, a better thing to ask is, well, can I just do these practices? Oh, thank God I have access to all of these practices that I can do. And maybe I'll receive it. If I do, that's great. If not, well, thank God for that as well. Maybe I wasn't ready. But I did benefit from these practices because I did them diligently. It's not something to be coveted. It's something that you work on yourself purely from the point of view of transformation. The final end point may or may not be the best thing for you. But everyone can put practices into their lifestyle, modify themselves, and get on a better track just by changing the patterns, just by being more mindful. That is something everyone can implement, and that's why I love making these videos. I hope that was helpful. This is Vivek Govekar signing off. Peace, love, blessings. Be well.